change, grow, improve. How? Start by making a decision to invest in yourself with books. Hey, I'm Terri Savelle, your cheerleader of dreams. Today I want to tell you the worst advice I've ever received, and I have a feeling you've gotten it too. I've never titled a podcast like that, but I'm here to tell you that if you want to be successful, don't listen to it. Now, before I tell you this unbelievable story, I want to let all you ladies know that we are getting closer and closer to Icing London. I'm taking my Icing Women's event to 3 locations this year: London, Dallas, and Washington, D.C. And London is this month, May 26 and 27 at Kensington Hall. So not only will we be near Kensington Palace, but Harrods is just around the corner. So if you've always wanted to go to London or you've always wanted to go to Icing, let's do both. So just click the link in the description and get your ticket today, and I would love to meet you there and get a hug. So let me tell you a true story, personal story, to explain this message on the worst advice. Back when none of us had access to cameras on our phones and we actually had to take our film to be developed, at the photo lab, I was constantly dropping my roll of film off at my local Walgreens store. Well, I was there so much that as soon as I entered the sliding doors, I would hear, "Welcome back, Miss Foy," by the employees. Now, those were the days when your family vacations, the first day of school pictures were actually viewed by a complete stranger before you ever approved them. In fact, one time I was given the wrong photos and it was a bunch of nakeds on a sailboat. I'm not kidding. That's a totally different story, and I'm glad we don't drop off our film anymore. But the lab technician actually called me in a panic, and he was like, "I think you got another customer's photos." Like, I think so. Anyway, that has nothing to do with my story. So one day, I ran into Walgreens to pick up another batch of pictures when the lab technician said, "I noticed you went to Scotland." There was no privacy back then. And so that means he saw all my awkward poses before there was a delete option, I said, "Yes, it's gorgeous. Have you been?" He said, "No, are you kidding?" He said, "But that is the one place in the world I really want to go." So I said, "Well, when are you planning to go?" He said, "Never. I could never afford that." And he said it without hesitation or even a glimmer of possibility. Well, the cheerleader of dreams in me said, "What? You can do anything you set your mind to." He said, "No, I'm not that lucky." He said, "But my ancestors are Scottish and I would give anything to go there like you did." Well, as you can imagine, I had a captive audience to teach the art of goal setting. This is my specialty. This is my field of study that I have dedicated years to learning. So I was just ready to fire away with the inspiration. So I told him, I said, "Listen, just get a piece of paper and write down your dream of going to Scotland. Do the research." I said, "Find out how much it cost. Don't assume it could never happen." I said, "How much are the flights? Where can you stay that's the most affordable? What if a friend goes with you and you split the hotel cost?" I said, "Do the homework. Start saving a portion of every paycheck." Then I told him, "Look for opportunities to make some extra money. Mow lawns, have a garage sale, pick up another job." I said, "You can do this." I was cheering him on. "No, not me. Like I said, I'm just not that lucky." He said that again. Unfortunately, it was a depressing conversation that fell on deaf ears. He refused to dream. He belittled his own possibilities for success. He chose to never go beyond where he was at that moment. Well, years went by, and I was visiting my parents in their hometown where that Walgreens is located. I ran inside to get some water, and up from the counter pops this same Scottish blood young man. He said, "Miss Foy, where have you been?" I wanted to say, "All over the world," but I said, "Hey, I've missed seeing you." Then I told him, I said, "A few years ago, I moved to Rockwall, Texas." And I said, "How have you been?" He said, "Oh, just surviving." So I reluctantly asked, "Have you made it to Scotland yet?" "No, that would be nice, but I'm not that lucky." Now, I promise I'm not trying to be tacky or put this sweet guy down. I'm just pointing out that nothing changes if nothing changes. Truly, he was simply just existing another year with no vision. I'm talking about an American guy in his late 20s with opportunities all around him, and he remains bound to the same place doing the same thing year after year with no hope to ever change. At the same time, I heard a similar situation of a young man from a poor family devastated by the Great Depression back in 1929 who was working at a same type grocery store making $2 per hour. Just a few decades later, he's raking in $20 billion in profit. Now, what did this young man, Warren Buffett, do that my Walgreens friend won't do? He changed, he grew, he improved his mindset and gave himself permission to dream. How? You might be going, well, tell me how. Do you know what he did? He simply read books. Now, I came across an interview with Warren Buffett where he was asked about his key to success. He pointed to a stack of library books and he simply said, read. Every day. He said, that's how knowledge works. It builds up. He said, just like compound interest. He said, all of you can do it, but I guarantee not many of you will. Knowledge compounds. Simply by reading, he opened his mind up to possibilities. He expanded his imagination. He gained knowledge. He built his confidence. He gave himself permission to dream outside the four walls of that grocery store. In fact, Mr. Buffett, the most successful financial investor of the 20th century, he explained how reading changed the whole trajectory of his life, from the grocery store clerk to billionaire investor. This is what he said. He said, I've had some lucky days in my life, but the luckiest day was in 1949 when I was 19 years old in Lincoln, Nebraska. I picked up a book, and he said it not only changed my mindset, but it changed my investment philosophy, and he said it changed my whole life. And then he said this, I would be a different person in a different place if I hadn't first seen that book. Now really think about those words. He'd be a different person in a different place if he hadn't first picked up a book. Now the so-called luck that my friend is hoping for is available to him every day by picking up one book and starting with one page. Now what about you? The fact that you're watching a personal growth podcast right now proves that you're on the path to change your life. But kick it up a notch by reading some amazing books. In fact, your free download this week, I put together a new list of some of my favorite personal growth books. Plus, I asked some of my team members to give me some of their all-time greatest books. So here's a list of our top 10 books for you to start reading. Just click the link in the description and get access to this free list right now. And set goals for yourself to read, whether it's 20 minutes a day or 10 pages a day, a book per month or a book a week. Make it a priority, and I'm telling you, you will become a different person in a different place. So, what's the worst advice I've ever received? And you probably have gotten it too. Now, I have this written, you've probably seen it written in every yearbook that's ever been produced. I just happened to find my high school yearbook, 1987, Crowley High School, and it's written on nearly every page. You know what it is? Never change. It's the worst advice I've ever received. Now, I know it's meant to be a kind gesture of, you're so sweet, never change. And I'm pretty sure I told a bunch of classmates the same thing, but don't listen to it. Change, grow, improve. How? Start by making a decision to invest in yourself with books. So click the link, get my highly recommended books, and remember, I am cheering you on to live your dreams.